Over the past few months, we've learned so much about online teaching because we were forced to, right? Because we were required to do work from home rather than being on campus. There's ways, though, that you can consider how this time of stress and anxiety can be beneficial for future times when you teach online or even face-to-face or in hybrid classrooms. So in today's video, I'm going over some things that you should write out at the end of this semester's teaching journal. And if you don't have one yet, I do have a blog post all about that, so you know what I mean when I say teaching journal. But if you do, right, great job. And so here's some things to consider writing out so that in future semesters, you're, ahead of the curve in thinking about ways of doing online teaching or digital assignments in your future classrooms. Hey there, it's Erica from Ever Educating. If you're new here, this channel is all about teaching tips for new college instructors, along with more general advice about grad school, since I know most new college instructors are grad students with assistantships. And so today, again, we're going over almost some reflection type questions to answer in your teaching journal. I do have actually multiple videos and blog posts about teaching reflection questions to ask yourself at the end of the semester, and so I'll go ahead and link those below. But in this case, it's not so much like reflecting on like your teaching style or anything along those lines, but just get some hard facts about things you learn about online teaching that could be beneficial for future courses. And so I have basically 5 questions for you. The first one is a 2-parter. So let's go ahead and dive in. So like I said, the first question is a 2-parter. So first, what tools did you find easiest to use when you were doing online teaching? And then second, which tools help students become most engaged in their learning? Because those might be the same, but they might not. So maybe you found Zoom to be really easy, or Loom to be very easy, or your LMS tools to be simple, but you found that this other tool, or the specific tool of those 3, was what helped students engage the most with your material, that made them understand best what you're trying to teach them, etc., etc. So first, just kind of list down, right? Bullet point list. These tools could be used in future semesters because I found them really simple to use. And these tools I can consider using in future semesters because students really engaged with my material when I use them. So list them out, very simple. This is not paragraphs of information. It's just facts to put in your journal to make sure that you remember it going forward, right? Because you don't know when you'll be teaching online again or doing digital types of assignments. Along similar veins, if you did both synchronous and asynchronous teaching this semester, then go ahead and write out which one worked better and in what ways. So for example, did synchronous work better when you made sure that you did synchronous teaching on the exact times they're supposed to be in class? Or did synchronous work better, but you chose an evening session because certain students had to do, take care of their children, or they had essential work they had to do, and so teaching in the evening worked best, right? And then with asynchronous, did that work better than synchronous? And if so, did it work best when you assigned something Monday and they had until Friday to complete it of that week? Or did it work best when you had a morning post to do something and they had until the evening to fill it out? So again, if you did both, which one worked better? And in what ways did you actually apply the synchronous or asynchronous types of teaching? If you only did one type, then you can still say, asynchronous is the only thing I did and it worked best in this situation. And just write that out so you know that in the future. With the unexpected jump online, there might be certain activities that you have planned that didn't work in the online setting, and so you change them into activities that you haven't done before. So go ahead and list out, were there any unusual or unexpected activities that you did in these last few months that worked really well? And just go ahead and list them so you know in the future you might want to try them on purpose, right? Not just because you had to come up with new ideas. So for example, I have this video above, and I'll link it below, of 5 final project ideas that are digital and multimodal in nature as a way of making it easier to teach online, or at least more interesting to students, because that final paper might not be the best idea to get students more engaged when they've been away from me for so long. So maybe creating a podcast proposal or creating a website might have been better for them. So were there certain activities, small or big, right, that you did that you realized, I should actually include these in my curriculum going forward, and not just when things are pushed on me to do, like when I was forced to teach online. And then in a more general sense, what time management strategies ended up working out well when you're forced to stay at home basically 24/7. If there's certain strategies that you did that you've been doing for a long term, right, even before this all happened, go ahead and work those out. But if you realize, hey, I figured out that doing time blocking, right, or stacking of work worked best for me, then go ahead and write those out. And if you don't know what that means, I have a video about some of these time management strategies. But in this case, it's not so much just about your teaching, but just if you manage on certain weeks or at certain time in these past few months to get a good routine of getting my work done, but also getting my research done, but also staying healthy, doing some self-care, having time with my family. If you've managed to do all these things in certain ways that worked really well for you, go ahead and list out how you actually broke up your time in order to achieve that. And if you didn't manage it, maybe these past few months have just been super stressful and you never managed to get your time structured in a way that worked well for you, it's helpful to know that too. So go ahead and list out what small shining moments did you see, and then what you now know definitely does not work for you as far as managing your time. And these are things that you might have fallen back to because there have been long-term bad habits, but are what you want to work on in the future to improve. And so I do have a video and a blog post about creating small atomic habits and how to apply that to your teaching life and even to your students' life in case you're interested. But it can just be for you, right? So just kind of figure out, did I manage my time in ways that were productive? And if yes, if this time forced me to actually achieve this, goal, then list out how you manage that. Because in the future, when we're not forced to stay at home, you might fall back into bad habits, but you'll have this written out in your journal now as reminders of, hey, you remember that this worked well for me. Why am I not still doing this when I'm not forced to, when I know it's going to be so much better for me? All right, so if any of these are helpful for you, please click the like button below and let me know. I really appreciate it. And if you want more teaching tips and resources or just grad school advice as well about productivity and such, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next week with a new video.